Now, welcome back. If you've just joined us, we get to continue with another interview. Now, the last few weeks of boxing had a lot of entertainment, from euphoric win by Jeremiah Loki Nakatira, Charles Shibina defending his WBO African welterweight title successfully, and John Paulinus, who also magnificently defended his WBO Africa Super Middleweight title. Now we are joined by Absalom Shiepo from the MTC Nestor Sunshine Boxing Promotion in studio to give us an update on these activities. Good morning, gentlemen, and welcome.
Good morning, and thanks for having me.
Okay, let's perhaps begin with Jeremiah Nakatira's win in Las Vegas. Give us your perspective on that win.
Great win for Jeremiah Loki Nakatira, putting up a great show in the city of entertainment, which is Las Vegas, live on ESPN. That can only be done by some boxers who get to that level. So it was a great fight for Loki. He started off with great momentum and dropping his opponent there in the first round with a very stiff jab. And as the fight continued, we could see Miguel Berchel's mouthpiece flying across the ring. And putting up a performance like that in the city of entertainment, which is Las Vegas, can only mean that Namibia is doing great in terms of boxing. And boxing always puts Namibia on the world map, and when Loki fights in Las Vegas, represents all of us.
Let's talk about especially that how in terms of Shakur Stevenson dominated obviously Jeremiah Nakatira to score a shutout anonymous decision in the win in Las Vegas. How did that result influence his win against Berchak?
At the MTC Sunshine Boxing and Fitness Academy, we believe that experience is always a source of education for us. So you learn from every experience, basically. So if you take a closer look at Jeremiah Nakatira's fight against Shakur Stevenson, and knowing Shakur as a boxer who's very awkward, a southpaw, makes it very difficult for his opponents to get to him and just trying to land whatever they have coming to him. And we've learned a lot from that fight going into the Berchel's fight. That's why from round one, Jeremiah Loki has been coming forward and making Berchel's fight on the back foot. So he came out very strong, and the last fight just motivated him to do better.
Okay, let's talk about Charles Shibina and Maxilio Ndawayanat's match. How was that win for Charles, and how do you reflect on that win for you?
I mean, if you watch the fight, you will see that the fight did not go a distance, and Ndawana was knocked out cold by Charles, and it could only mean one thing, because Charles was defending his title, WBO welterweight title. So it's just a clear message out there that everyone who wishes to have the WBO Africa belt, that's the man.
Go through me.
Of course, that's the man he has to face. And if I were on the other side, I would not even want to face a man like Charles.
Okay. Now, staying in the context of that, obviously people who are defending their titles, we talk about John Paulino as well as Filipinos Energy Nitumbwa, who both defended their titles in WBO Africa Super Middleweight title as well as WBO Global title successfully. What is so special about these boxers?
You know, every boxer is unique in their own way. But boxing itself is about a record, it's about rating and championship. So the aim of grooming boxers like Energy, like Geronimus, Paulines, is for them to get to a point where one day maybe they are mandatory to fight for a world title. Basically, the least you can do is to get them in the rating and for them to get better ratings, and then for them to challenge for the world title one day.
Okay, but what in general, maybe perhaps, what do these wins actually mean for the country as a whole? Do you think boxing is headed in the right direction? Are there some areas that we perhaps need to do better?
Of course, boxing is the #1 sport in the country right now. We're represented elsewhere in the world. And if you look at, let's say, Charles Shibina, for example, the knockout which he just gave will be regarded as one of the knockouts of the year by the WBO, for instance. And looking at a kid like Energy, for instance, is one of the boxers who was rated in the top 15 in the world. So that can only mean one thing: we are headed in the right direction, and the direction we are taking is to get a better rating and one day to become mandatory and fight for the world championship. That's what boxing is all about.
How soon as can we expect some of these guys that are getting better rating, as you indicated, likely to get fights?
You know, it takes time for a boxer to get to a point where they're mandatory, and especially if you're from Africa, you have to get to that level and at least challenge the champion in that division. So it takes a bit of time for them to be groomed, but the direction is fine so far, and we cannot also rush them. The pace is just fine because everything comes at its own time. You cannot really push a boxer to get there overnight, but he has to experience everything going to that stage.
Now, as we conclude our conversation, who are some of the next fighters that Namibia should be looking at?
At the MTC Sunshine, we have a lot of prospects, the likes of Martin Mukungu, for example, who has 6 fights, 5 straight victories. There's someone to look out for. Paulo Samavila, for instance, 7 fights, 7 straight victories. And top prospect, Matthews the Beast Hater, who is the WBA Super Bantamweight champion right now, who has 7 fights and 7 straight victories. These kids are very special when it comes to boxing, have a very unique style, and that can only guarantee them to get at the world level.
So pound to pound.
Of course.
The Beast.
Yeah.
Interesting. Where do you guys get these names? It is quite interesting.
You know, for a boxer like Matthew Hater, for example, he's called the Beast because once he gets into the ring, he's very explosive and wants to destroy whatever comes in front of him. So basically, you can't have any other name that is better than the Beast.
Okay. I mean, before we let you go, any concluding remarks from your side this morning?
I would like to thank our main sponsor, MTC, continue making the connection. The Namibian government, of course, for being there since day one. And the Namibian nation at large, we thank you for the support. Without you, boxing wouldn't be where it is today. And happy Easter, everybody.
Okay. Now, thank you very much, Mr. Shiepo, and we wish you a blessed Easter weekend.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. Now, that was Mr. Absalom Shiepo from the MTC Nestor Sunshine boxing promotion, talking to about some of the recently concluded boxing matches that involve their boxers and also their prospects for the future. Now, stay tuned, rather, when we get